been so proud of myself for looking deep and saying, I don't like that. I need to change that. I don't want to be 60, 70 years old and holding on to stuff from 18, 19, 20. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is what's funny, because I was a victim of sexual assault, right? And people always say, oh, you're still holding on to that. Just, it's deep down. And I'm like, I'm absolutely past that. The reason why I'm past that is because I ended up putting myself in service of those that experienced what I experienced. Those that were raped, I worked with organizations to help however I could. That made me get over what I went through. And they say that's the best way to kind of like deal with something you're going through, is to put yourself in the service of others. And it definitely helped. And so I would say to myself, like, damn it, I got over the rape. How come I can't fucking say what I need to say to people close to me? Why? Why do I hold on to it? But it's so crazy trying to unpack that stuff. Because, like I said, the other end of it is, God, I'm going to make them feel bad. What? I'd rather take that chance that they feel that way and free myself. So I have another phone call to make. And then I believe that those two things, because I see these people, and I don't say these people cold-heartedly. I say it because I don't want to slip up and say their name or whatever. But I see on social media that, I see them. And so I don't want to not say anything, because they are right there in front of me. You know what I mean? It's like a reminder. And again, like I said, it's just really been this past 6 months, a year, not even a year, like 6 months. It's been heavy. But I'm like, I gotta say something. So I'm hoping this helps you if there's something that you kind of dismissed off. But sometimes it just pops up and you're like, somebody say something wrong to you, be like, you motherfucker! And you're like, where did that come from? Like, God. So here's another thing, right? Like, I am a firm believer in therapy. It took me quite a while to find a therapist that I like. Because I'm going to tell you honestly, I don't trust nobody. I don't really like to say my business and it's so ironic because I say my business here, right? But there's certain things I don't want to say, but I need to say. You know what I mean? And so it took me a while to find a therapist I really did like. And I found her. I actually found a couple that I liked. Well, when I was in Tulsa and then here in New York. Both black women. And I love talking with black women because I feel like I'm a little bit more understood. And that's not taken away from anything. It's just, for me, you know, I don't know if it's like a sister thing or a mom thing, but I really do look for that. And so I found one. So then I stopped because I'm like, you know what? I think I have this under control. I know how to work through change in my life. I had to see a therapist when I came back to New York because everything changed entirely in my life. Being in radio for 20-something years, that's all I knew. Coming back, you know, to a mom who's not in the best of health. Being a wife, you know. And it was just a lot. So I found a therapist. Loved her. So then I'm like, all right, you know what? I want to talk to my therapist, kind of walk with me through this baggage that I'm unleashing. You know, just have somebody be like, listen, this is what I did, and da-da-da-da-da. How do you feel about it? Oh, man, you know, feels great to get past it. Or, oh, it felt heavier once So I reached back out to my therapist, and she no longer takes my insurance. I gotta start all over again. Fuck that. You know how hard it was for me to find her? I'm like, I need to walk through this myself. But yeah. One thing I did want to say too. After I had approached my relative and, you know, said what I said. So the next day I woke up and I'm like, oh man, I thought I would feel like I'd be kicking up, birds are singing, sun is shining because I released something off of me. But it wasn't. I mean, it was a process where I had to relive it again. And then just that whole, okay, now I got to take this time to just let it go. So I woke up and jumped in the car and said, I'm getting out and I'm getting some sun. I'm going to stay out all day and just change the narrative of the day. So I started out, jumped in the car, and in New York, it's snowy, icy. So I'm looking and I'm like, oh gosh, there is some ice on my driver's wheel and the passenger driver's side wheel. I get in and I'm like, gosh, I can't even get out of my parking spot. So I get the shovel, chop it up. I live on a, you could say, fairly busy block. And so I get back in the car. I'm like, all right, it's going. But I'm like, God, what the fuck? It feels like I got a flat tire. So I look around my car, no flat tire. Get in, put it in drive, go. Now, at this point, I'm like, something's up. It's not going right at all. I feel like and mind you, the day before I drove my car, I pulled out of the parking spot, and both my tires were flat. Brand new tires, flat. They didn't seal it up correctly or whatever, and my tires are flat. So I'm like, shit, am I going through this again? So I ended up leaving. I couldn't back into the parking spot. So I had to leave the car. I'm like in the middle of my street. And my street looks like it could be a one-way. So if a car is in the middle of the street, then cars got to go around. So at this point now, I kind of have traffic backed up. Yeah. And so I'm freaking out. Then I see like a little light flash on my dash that said emergency brake. So I'm like, oh, now this is a new car. I've never used the emergency brake before. I know where the emergency brake is located, and I look down and I don't see it. I'm like, there's no part where I put the foot down. There's no part where I pop it with my hands. And I'm like, where the fuck? So I'm trying to call my husband. He's at work, so he's not answering. I'm freaking out. People going past me looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, bitch, get out the middle of the road. What the fuck is wrong with you, right? So then I call my son. And I'm like, where the fuck is the emergency brake in here? By this time, I got the driver door swung open, and my chest is laying on the seat of the driver's seat. And I'm looking down under the gas and the brake, and I see the fucking emergency brake, but it's all the ways in the fucking floor of the car. I'm like, told my son, I found it, bye. I hung up, closed the door, popped that emergency brake, pulled off on the side, and burst into tears. I was like, motherfucker. Shit. I then say, bitch, wipe them tears. I wipe the tears from my face, threw on my sunglasses, like, fuck this shit. So I fucking go out and I get whatever groceries and shit that I needed. And then I come back and Boris is on the bed. Now, Boris is about 94, 95 pounds. He's on my bed, which my bed sits up pretty high. Have a small bedroom, so sometimes he's not too keen. He can get up there, but getting off, he's like, So, and I was on the phone with Heather at this point, telling her how my day's kind of fucked up, like off, but I'm trying to get it back on track. So Boris is freaking on the bed crying to get off. Like, he whines. So I'm like, all right, come on. I'm trying to help him. Mind you, I'm on the phone with Heather. Boris, come on. I got you. Come on. Boris, get the fuck. Come on. Nothing. He runs to the edge, then runs back and runs around in a circle. He's like 90 fucking something pounds. What are you doing? So I jump on the bed and I try to lift him up, and he's using his back legs to push, like, I'm like, get your big ass off the bed, Boris. Nothing. Fuck it then. Stay up there. And so now I have to go back out because I'm like, crap, I got to get some more stuff. So I leave a motherfucking bed. I am dying laughing in the car. Because if you would see the visual of me trying to pull this big ass motherfucker off this bed, you'd be like, yo, Sonny. Totally changed my day around. It totally changed my day around. So I was thankful for that laugh. And then, the day just kind of went past and I moved on from that. I ended up the next day, or maybe 2 days later, I sent my relative that a meme that said good morning, and it was a really funny meme, and because it's no animosity, it's no anger, it's nothing, it was just something I was holding on to that I didn't get to fully express myself, that it deeply hurt me, that once I said it now, I felt so much better. So that was that. And I was able to move past that and figure out, okay, what else is next to, make me a better person and free me up from all the things that, I just didn't do in my past. And that's where I was on that. So I hope you enjoyed that, because I enjoyed sharing that with you. And I was hesitant, but Heather was like, girl, you definitely need to tell that story. That's inspiring. I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to tell the story.